Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and narrate mysterious and weird true stories. Tonight's first case file, written by user Nicola90, details how objects in his home are vanishing inexplicably. Let's get right into it. Case file number 1. Let me start by saying there's no other person more skeptical or cynical than me, to the point of irritating everyone by questioning everything with logic. But just recently, things have been disappearing from our house at an increasingly alarming rate. Now, the obvious answers are absent-mindedly misplaced, theft, or prank. These are a range of items from clothing, jewelry, books, pills, and a host of miscellaneous mundane items. None have ever reappeared despite the most thorough of searches. Now, I accept that some of these have just been naturally lost, taken out of the house and left somewhere. I can definitely rule out the theft or prank. Despite the upsetting nature of the consequences of some of these losses, like everyone else, in the end you put it down to one of those things and move on because there's nothing more you can do about it. That is, until this morning and this happened. It is all more weird because the object involved is so mundane. My son recently broke off the bottom cover of his PS5, and I promised to fix it. So this morning I actually got around to planning to repair it. I decided to take it from his bedroom down to the kitchen because the lighting is so much better down there. I placed the cover on top of the PS5 and carefully carried them both down the stairs to the kitchen. I put the PS5 on the kitchen table, went to take the cover off the top of the PS5 so I could flip it over to fix it on the other side, and it had just vanished. I just thought, how the hell did that slip off without me noticing, or hearing it? But just went back up to the stairs to find it. It could only have been between the bedroom and the kitchen, a fairly short distance, mind you. Now let me just tell you, I've spent the better part of an hour searching for it, and it's gone. Just completely vanished. I am alone in the house and there are no pets here. So between me placing the cover on top of the PS5 and setting it down on the table was about a minute. Obviously I didn't see it disappear, and I was concentrating on not falling down the stairs whilst carrying a PS5. But I can say, without a shred of doubt, that the cover has vanished into thin air. Of that there is simply no doubt. I am now questioning all other disappearances of more valuable and larger items that have happened recently, and at an increasing rate. Having Googled this phenomena, I had no idea it's occurring all over the world, and also at an increasing rate, it seems. The problem is that it's all too easy and natural to dismiss a missing item as just lost, hidden, or stolen, and write it off as just that because there's no other explanation, is there? Edit. Sorry guys, I've just been corrected by my daughter that it's a PS4, not a PS5. Just to clarify, sorry for the confusion. Personal notes. Well, as you described, we all do have objects that seem to just vanish. But usually those instances occur where there's some sort of logical assumption. I mean, something that can be made in your mind that says, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like you say, theft or a prank or something. Or like it just bounced off when you dropped it and then you can't find where it bounced to. Something like that. You just assume, oh, well, it bounced like 30 feet. Who knows, maybe the laws of physics were temporarily disabled. For this specific case, there doesn't seem to be any actual explanation at all. You also mentioned you don't have pets, so it's not like you had a dog that just snuck it around and hid it somewhere. So in humor, I like to think that some people actually do have the superpower of invisibility, and spend their days pranking us by moving or stealing objects right under our noses. It's probably what I'd do if I had that kind of power. Oh, I've said too much. Tonight's second case, written by user Critical-Cranberry, describes an unusual noise that emanated from an unknown location, with the feeling of being lured in. Case file number 2. This happened about 4 years ago. I just remembered it today and realized I still don't know how to explain it. I worked a swing shift and it was 11 p.m. to midnight when I got home. My dog was in the backyard. I went inside and took off my shoes right away, getting ready to take a shower. However, my dog started barking frantically. This was common for him as he was protective. I would check if there was actually a problem every time, just in case. I went out on the deck in the backyard. He was barking at the bottom of the stairs facing away from me, which was unusual for him to do. I started talking and he stopped barking immediately. Then I heard a very loud, heavy breathing. I thought it was my dog panting, but he was not. The sound seemed to come from above me, and he was standing below me. It sounded like someone hyperventilating, like they were trying to breathe as loudly as possible. I couldn't see anything out of the ordinary though. Well, I decided to investigate. I went down the stairs and examined my yard and the next door neighbors. This was a suburban area. When I got near where I heard the breathing, I suddenly heard the sound from a yard away. Once I got to that yard, the sound jumped to the next yard. Being young and dumb, I continued down the street. Every time I got close, the sound would jump. It always sounded the same. It was the same loudness and pitch, always the same distance away, it seems. I continued down the road until I reached a bend. My feet hurt, so I stopped for a minute. I realized that due to the curve, I could not see the place where I heard the sound, but it seemed to be just within the edges of a wooded area. I was seriously considering chasing after it when it occurred to me how foolish it was to be investigating alone like that, especially without shoes. My phone was also dead. I suddenly got the impression that I was a prey animal, and some kind of predator was trying to lure me farther away. I immediately turned around and walked back as quickly as possible. Probably it was just anxiety from being alone in the dark, but I couldn't stop thinking that something terrible would have happened if I went any further. I never heard that sound again or had any weird experiences like that, and I no longer live in that area. The best mundane answer I have is that it was some kind of bird. What is most creepy to me is I have since read stories of people following a noise and then had a feeling of something luring them into the woods. I know a lot of these stories are probably not true or have simple explanations. If anyone does have suggestions for what I heard, I would love to hear them. This was in the US, in the Midwest. Personal notes. So as I was reading this, I was thinking of those horror movies. As you're watching them, shouting at the screen, "Don't go through the door, don't do it. God no, just run away, call for help, stay together, don't split up." All of the above. Well, at least you did turn back around and never found out what it was. Could have been some unknown beast. Maybe even a killer luring you with a strange sound. Or perhaps it was some kind of auditory glitch without any evil involved. There certainly are a lot of audio glitches in the world, the hum being the most renowned. Still, that it never happened again does suggest that it probably was some kind of animal, though quite intelligent. Interesting. And that concludes our case files for the night. If you did enjoy the video, I'll just throw out all the standard YouTube stuff, like, comment, share the video, it all helps. And if you'd like to subscribe, I upload Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. EST with new case files all the time. I'll see you there.